Alright, welcome back to Mayhem Machine. My name's Chris. Just went down and spent the past 5 hours in this truck going to pick up a new piece of equipment from Mayhem Machine. Well, new to Mayhem Machine. It's a used piece of equipment. It needs a little work. As you can see, it's starting to snow. We've got a northeaster coming in. Anyways, I figured start making a video on it. This is the rig. Not sure what year it is. It's a SCAG Zero Turn Mower. It's my first Zero Turn mower. I borrowed a buddy's last year to get started. Found this one on Facebook Marketplace. Looks like a decent piece of equipment. Has some running issues. The previous owner says it needs a carb cleaning. I didn't realize it when I was talking to him on Marketplace, but he is a rental company down in Massachusetts. Great guy, really nice guy. Seems to know his stuff, and I think he's right. Could use a carb cleaning. From it runs, it drives, seems to drive great. I didn't see any problems in the motors. I'm sure I need to do a full service on it. Spark plugs, air intake, filter, oil, hydraulic oil, filters. As far as the running goes, I think first I'm going to end up trying some of that VP fuel mechanic in a can. Give that a try. He said it sat all summer, didn't get used, so I don't know if he used ethanol fuel or not. If he did, I'm guessing with the luck I've had with such fuel, I'm guessing that there's some water condensation in the fuel tanks, got in the gas, and the ethanol might have started to crystallize, that kind of thing. So could I take the carburetor off and just go to town on it? Yes. The way it's running, I think it's the idle jet is plugged up a little bit. It runs fine at high RPM, and it's just when it comes to idle, it's not doing that great. It does idle, just rough, but I figure before I tear into the carburetor or buy a new carburetor, probably just needs the main jet or the idle jet cleaned. But I figured I'll try some of that VP fuel mechanic in a can and some fresh non-ethanol 93 octane that I get at a local gas station, probably with some bar sol, or no, not bar sol, Berryman's, as Vice Grip Garage calls it. What is it, Italian tune-up in a can, I think he calls it. But I'll probably try that. Some fresh fuel, try that, get it to run, just have it run for a while, but see what I can do with it. Nice deck and everything on it. It had a bagger unit, but he sold it before I got there. Looks like the belt's a little bit off that pulley, but other than that, he said it was a Kohler motor, and like I said, it runs pretty good. It's just it doesn't want to idle very good, so I'm thinking it's just the idle jet. But anyways, wanted to do a quick little video on the way back with it. Because of the snowstorm here, I'm going to get it back to the shop, get it in the shop, get the spinner unit back on the sander, get the plow back on the truck. I wasn't going to drive all the way 5 hours with the plow on and everything, and I had to take the spinner off for the trailer, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to get back to the shop, get that in the shop, get the truck back ready to do some snow plowing, and go from there. I'll probably start working on this mower either today or tomorrow and see what I can figure out on it. But like I said, I wanted to get a quick little video quick here on the way back. These are really nice. These are really nice. It's not upset about I can school bus. I'll take it for nice. Got some roads already. Looks like it's going to be the racer. Maybe pop it on. Back up. Great job. Zero Turn Mower. I don't know, SCAG, Bobcat. You might be gone. If you're letting go. You're going to run the whole time. You can start cleaning your tool. First you want to do. Come here, get the shot. After the stuff from you. Get it working. Work on. That's a cold seat. It's nice. No big deal. Come on. Oh, there it is. My new to me SCAG Wildcat. Guessing this is an oil tank. My buddy's Ferris didn't have that. That's different. But it's got dual gas tanks. That's cool. Twice the fun to clean out. That filter, that fuel filter looks brand new, so I'm sure that has nothing to do with how it's running. Absolutely nothing. That, you know, that. Might have to replace on some of these fuel lines too. We'll see. But I think I'll get it running good. I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Cool. Okay. Been looking this thing over a little bit. Before I dig into too much, I'm going to get some new fuel lines, new fuel filter. As far as my theory about water in the fuel, I noticed on the fuel caps, it looks like somebody knifed a hole in the top. I mean, you can see, it looks like blade marks and everything. I mean, the hole goes right through to the tank,
on both of them. It's almost like somebody took a grinding wheel to it or something, but that'll definitely let water in if you're not covering the machine. So that's not good. I ordered some fresh AMSOIL engine oil, and I've also ordered fresh hydraulic oil for it, because when you pull this out, kind of reminds me of when I owned a Ford 6-liter diesel, the milkshake maker. But yeah, it shouldn't be milky like that. I'm glad I got it inside a nice heated shop. Got some fresh oil on that ordered. I've got to get filters for this and for the fuel and for the engine. I'm going to get a new air filter, spark plugs. Basically go right through it and give myself the best shot possible. See what I can do with it. On the front, I did notice, I don't know if it has anything to do with the bagger unit or what, but there's 4 bolts missing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the only thing holding this front end on is 2 bolts. It looks like it's supposed to be 6 total, not 2. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna get some parts ordered. See what I can do for finding them. It needs to be cleaned up. Definitely got to clean all this up, vacuum it up. It's got 2,446 hours on it. A little higher than I'd like, but it's the first mower for the business, so hopefully this gets through me at least one season, no problems. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But wanted to give you a quick update as far as what I found, what I need to buy before I can really tear into it much. But yeah, so I'm going to get some fuel caps, filters, oils on order. I won't be surprised if it needs a new battery, but I'm going to go right through it, do what I got to do. Alright, so I got new oil filters, air filters. I got all the filters except the one for the hydraulics, which should be in today. Oils I've got ordered, all fresh AMSOIL stuff. That should be in tomorrow. But today what I'm going to do is try that VP mechanic in a bottle like I was saying I was going to do. So I'm going to put the new spark plugs in, new air filter in, new fuel line to the carburetor. And just go from the carburetor to the pump to where the new fuel filter is going to plug in, and then take a piece of line, go right from the fuel filter into the can of VP mechanic in a bottle. The way that stuff works, from what I understand, reading the instructions, they want you to run it in the motor for a little bit, get it in the carburetor good, then let it set for 24 hours, and then run the rest of it through. I guess it's supposed to deteriorate any ethanol crystallization or any gummed up fuel, that kind of thing. So just going to go ahead and change the spark plugs. It has Champions in it right now. I'm switching them to NGKs. I've had better luck with NGKs on power equipment, power sports stuff, snowmobiles, chainsaws, anything like that. I don't know if it really matters or not, but I've had better luck with it. Swapping out the Champion RC12 YCs for hopefully the right size NGKs. NGK BKR 5Es. Look like basically the same spark plug, so it should work fine. Like I said, I've had better luck with NGKs than I have Champion, at least in power equipment, stuff like that. Gap looks good. Looks about the same. It's not an Iridium plug or anything, it's just a standard, what is this? Platinum or something. It's a V power, whatever that stands for. But I'll hang on to the Champions for a little bit in case. Whoa. Easy. Carefully in progress. There we go. Click. Close enough. There's one. The old filter, the air filter that is, pretty sure somebody started this thing with starting fluid or something at some point. Because it's got a dual filter, you got a coarse one and then a fine one, right? Well, the inner one looks like it caught on fire at some point. Because, yeah, that thing's melted. So you got the outer filter, you got an inner filter. Like I said, it's, I'd say the filter element caught on fire at some point. It's all melted, burnt. It's pretty nasty. Somebody did something at some point. Click. That's good. Okay, those are both installed. Let's see here. So able to get some new gas caps. Like I said, the old one had both of them have like a hole in them. Somebody decided to modify them. So we got two brand new ones. A little bit different, no hole. Sure, it's got some kind of vent going on. Yeah. I think it vents out these holes here, so it gets enough pressure in the tank, it'll vent out these little slots here. Should fit. That tank looks to be bone dry. There. Nice new caps on an old mower. Hopefully this air filter is right. Got the filters from a local power equipment dealer. Nice small shop. I like to give them business if I can. Nice local guy, he's very helpful. That one fits. So yeah, the burnt one I just showed you, that's what it's supposed to look like. Some kind of cotton filament. That looks a lot better than our old one. That goes in first. That one chases it. That's all in. Does this have any orientation? Must. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Some kind of vent hole here towards the bottom, so I'll put that towards the bottom in case it's supposed to allow water to drain out. Now on to our fuel line. It looks like it just clamps on, there are pliers. Let's see here. Of course I can't find my regular pliers. Just has one of those spring hose clamps. There we go. I don't mind these spring clamps versus the screw-on style, as long as it works. Some people don't like them. Yeah, that's nice old brittle fuel line. Fuel line's not cheap anymore. 5/16 fuel line. $3 and I think it was 30 cents a foot. Definitely not cheap anymore. Give it a little extra just in case. Can't cut it longer. There we go. Can I use these connections on this? Probably not. Holy crap, I can. Nice. That. Come on, get on there. Come on. No. Come on. Why is it one goes on and the other does not? Same size hose, same size clamps. Wish I could tell where that camera was looking. Come on. No, this clamp is not going to work. This end, for some reason, must be slightly smaller. But the end that's going onto the engine, or the carburetor in this case, Should work. That way I don't have to try to get a hose clamp in this tight little spot if I can get this on there. Close, getting closer. There we go. Nice. So that's on there. That reaches fine. Here's that little extra, it's not rubbing up against any of the frame. Now I just got a regular hose clamp. Got a few of them in case I needed them. So, flathead screwdriver. Going somewhere around here. Alright. You still the flathead. Why didn't you tell me it was right here? Come on, help me out. Let's see. That seems plenty tight enough, not rubbing anywhere. Nice, I like it. So now I need a new one to the fuel filter. Somebody's already been here, we're a hose clamp. Come on. Well, there goes that hose clamp. Another piece of quality line. Now this one's not super critical, just goes to the fuel filter. So I'll give it a little extra just in case. Fuel filter just kind of hangs out on the chassis. I try to think ahead on my hose clamps as far as accessing the screw-on part. Sometimes you can put them into, doesn't really apply to this thing, but if you get on a car, sometimes you'll have it turned, and as far as being able to reach it and tighten it, sometimes you can orient it and make it a lot more difficult for yourself. Pointing it in the wrong direction, and then you have a hard time closing it up. Like this one here, the way that's on there, it's pointed towards the hydraulic tank over here, towards the plate. The only way somebody got that on there was they took this fuel switch off, put the hose on, then put the switch back on. Either that or they turned it, which I might be able to do, or maybe not. I don't want to break it. But if they had just turned it this way, I'd be able to take it off right now. As it is, it's pointed towards the tank here, towards the frame. I can't get that off there, and I don't want to break this. I don't know if it's metal, plastic. So
I'm just going to cut a length of hose for what I'm doing now. Hook the fuel filter up. I'll cut a length of hose that's about the same as that. Put that on the other end of the fuel filter. And I'm just going to put it in that VP fuel mechanic in a bottle. Start the engine, run that for a while, and then I'll let it set till tomorrow. So. Let's see, this hose went to there. Looks like it's about that long. Again, I'm going to give it a little extra. A little extra, I'm talking like ½ inch to 1 inch. This one I'll probably just give it an extra inch. It does two things. You can't cut it longer, so if it's can't cut anything longer, so giving yourself a little extra. Yeah, it's $3 something a foot. I understand that, but if I need that extra little bit to make the connection that I didn't realize, I've got it. Or as the fuel line gets old, this starts cracking, gets brittle, starts to leak on the connection, you can take the connection off, snip off, say ½ inch, and then put the hose clamp back on, put it back together. May not be a permanent fix, but if you're out on a job site mowing or something, you got a screwdriver and a pocket knife, you could, or out on an ATV trail, whatever you're doing, you cut, if it's leaking on that because the hose is cracked on the end from being old, dry, you can cut that off, put it back on. You got a little bit extra, and at least finish what you're doing and repair it properly later. Fuel filter is a 3002, just a simple Napa clear. Like I was saying before, these filters are the exact same. The reason I'm changing it, here's the old one, here's the new one. Just a little bit of a difference. There's an arrow on it for the direction of flow, so it's got to go this way. So this end will go to the carburetor, like that. And you can put a hose clamp on it first. Again, being mindful of the orientation of the screw on it, make it easier for myself. These are just plastic, so you got to be careful with them. That's good. I already cut my other length. So this will be the hose that goes to that switch, but I'm going to have to take that switch off because somebody oriented the hose clamp in a way where I can't get it off there without disassembling it. For now, I just want to get the machine running off of that VP fuels, see if that'll clean up the carburetor or not. I'll get me ahead a little bit. See if it'll help that carburetor. I don't mind having to take that carburetor apart and clean it or rebuild it. I'll have to order a rebuild kit, new seals and whatnot. But if I don't have to, one, it saves me money, two, it saves me time. And from what I've seen of this machine, between the fuel filter, the fuel tanks, the fuel caps, the previous owner said it sat for a year. I'm really
not going to be surprised that the biggest problem is bad fuel. But I'm sure the carburetor probably does, because it sat for most of the year, probably does have some gunk in it. And it's attached. So I can take this hose, set it right into the bottle, and it'll suck the fuel right out of the bottle into the carburetor. Here I go. This pan I used to catch any oil that's spilt from getting the oil filter number. So I got new spark plugs, new air filters. Lost a little bit of oil, turned the filter just so I could get the part number off it, but we still, according to this, we're over full by a little bit. It's not a liquid cooled engine, so hopefully, don't have to worry about head gaskets. This is what I'm going to try. It's like $10 a can. I figure why not. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and I wasted $10. But you know it's good fuel. Use a new choke cable. See what that is? Yeah, that's choke cable. That can be replaced. Get this in away so it's away. Set this right down the can. Try to get it so it won't tip over. There. So now I should be able to start it up. It'll suck the fuel right from that can. You should see it fill up in the fuel filter. Hopefully I don't have to prime anything. Hopefully the battery's good enough to crank it over long enough. But yeah, let's see what it does. Yeah, how do you work this thing again? Let's show. Sucking gas through. Wow, that sucked a lot of gas through fast. Cool. Try it again. Come on. to get the engine a little hot or warm. It's already running better. I brought it down to idle. Yeah, it's a little rough, but it was idling on its own, no choke. It didn't do that before. So like I said, this fuel you're supposed to, according to the instructions, you're supposed to leave it in the carburetor. You run it for a little bit like I just did, and then you're supposed to leave it set in there for 24 hours, let it do its magical thing, and then I can run more off of it. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I mean, it's a new to me machine. I didn't think of it. The exhaust was pointed right at this gas can. Definitely dangerous, stupid on my part. Didn't blow up, thankfully, but if this thing had backfired, it would have thrown sparks right at this gas can. So I moved it away, made it safer, but yeah, it was blowing right at it, so that's my bad. See how it goes. Hopefully this helps it. I'm just going to take the hose out of the bottle, set it up for the night, and we'll see what it does. Next step will be basically just running the rest of the new fuel lines, and probably just take the rest of this bottle and put it in the tank and run it right off the tank. Go from there. Like I said, I've got a fresh 93 non-ethanol, and I've got this stuff that Vice Grip guy likes to use a lot, that Derek guy, Berryman's. He swears by it. So it's really good. It seems he does a lot of hot rod restorations or vintage car restorations, and it seems to work pretty good for him on his channel. So I'll give it a try. Why not? It's a couple bucks. Like I said, I'm not against taking this carburetor off, but if I don't have to, I don't have to. It's a lot of small parts. You got to make sure you put it back together right. You got to get the parts, like seals and everything, the right ones. If I don't have to do it, it saves me time and effort. It's already running better, like I said. It would not idle like that before. So just with a couple of minutes of running this fresh mechanic and a bottle fuel in it, which is 94 non-ethanol octane, it's already doing better. So let it set for the night, see what it does, and I'll probably put new lines on it and go from there. Finish the service up on it. Okay, so back at it again. Next day, so I replaced the rest of the fuel lines, connected the switch. I did the oil change on it. I didn't think anyone would really want to watch doing an oil change on a Kohler. There's videos all over the place for that. But if you didn't know, oil filter's right there, and just to the right of it, you open that little, it's a 10 millimeter bolt, and it basically works as a petcock, like on your radiators, and it'll drain out below. So it makes it pretty easy to do an oil change on this machine. I got bored last night, so that's what I worked on. The thing I wish I had on tape was, so it was having fuel issues. That tank was pretty much empty. You couldn't even see fuel in it. It was so low. This one was the one, as far as I know, it was running off. This one had probably a half tank in it. That little 90 degree right there, when I took that fuel line off, the old fuel line off that I replaced, it was so plugged up, it didn't even allow fuel to come out. I even questioned it, was this the tank that had fuel in it, or was it the other tank? So I popped the cap, and yep, what do you know? That's the tank that has gas in it. I ended up taking a small zip tie. When the fuel line was off, I cut the new line so it was ready to go on in case I did get it to open up. I wasn't sure how plugged it was, but I stuck the zip tie in there, got it to go around the 90 into the tank, shook that around a bit, and when I pulled the zip tie out, it was just a full-on a steady stream of gas, so whatever was plugging it up was broken up and came out, so I was able to put the new line on, and that seems to be working fine now. But if you ever have a fuel issue on one of these, apparently you want to take a look at that fitting right off the tank and make sure you're actually getting gas out of your tank. Don't know if that was part of the problem on this machine or not, but either way, the mechanic in a bottle VP fuel has been sitting in the carburetor for a couple days now. I haven't started it since last time. So today I'm just going to go ahead and give it a quick change on the hydraulic fluid. It's just this filter down here, and there's a little drain plug right there. So I'm going to jack it up, take that filter off, drain the fluid out, and get it replaced. So once the fluid's changed out, I'm going to have to start it up, and with the rear tires jacked up to get any air out of the system. So I'm going to jack it up in a manner that I'll be able to start it and run it, because there is the clutch down here. You don't want the jack up against that. I'm just going to reach my hand down here. There's a lip on this skid plate, so I'm just going to get the edge of the tooth of the jack to catch on that lip. That way it'll stay out of the way of the clutch. And it'll give me room to work. Get out of here. Get upstairs. I've been using these clamp style filter wrenches for quite a while. If it fits into the area you're working on, it's pretty much any size fits kind of thing, which is handy. Just like that, I've got it loose. Actually, no, I just tightened it, sorry. Looking at it from the wrong angle. Now it's loose. I gotta get my oil pan under there. Uh-oh. That's not gonna fit. Jack it up higher, get the oil pan under it. Probably be better if I had a smaller, narrower oil pan, but this is what I got to work with. Yeah, that'll work. I just got to get the filter the rest of the way off. This one is a 55-1200. I got a new one right at O'Reilly's. Now, the reason I wanted to change it, as you can see, it looks like a milkshake. Kind of reminds me of back when I owned a Ford 6-liter diesel. It's definitely not good oil. It's got a lot of water in it. So I need to let that drain out for a while. The filter does not want to come out of this hole by the clutch, apparently. Maybe we can sneak it out through here. No, it's going to have to go forward. Either way, this oil that's in it is junk. It's a usually like a 2050 engine oil. It's
synthetic is what most manufacturers recommend. I don't know when the last time it was changed. It still has a little lubricity feeling to it, but not a lot. And yeah, it shouldn't be milky like this. I'll probably change it, run it a little bit. Yeah, it's expensive oil. I bought AMSOIL's Zero Turn oil for it. It's expensive oil, but even if I waste $20, 2 quarts worth of oil, it's cheaper than any kind of damage that would go on in these drive motors. I don't want to know what a new one of these costs. Hopefully these hold up for a while. So anyways, that one's draining. Now I need to get a wrench for this nut here. I believe that's the drain bolt that I've read about online. The engine was a 10mm drain plug. So I'm guessing this is all metric on this machine, even though it's American made. Looks like possibly a 17. Yeah, nice. 17's a nice tight fit. The reason I already knew the oil was a milkshake, so it pulled this is, I'm not sure what this is for, some kind of baffle or filter or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, as you can see, it's all milky on the bottom. That's the reservoir for the oil. And from what I can understand, when I pull that bolt out, that should allow the oil to come out of there. I'm gonna find out. This is not seized in there. That should drain out this holding tank up here. Again, it's all nasty, milky oil. It's not what you want to be running. It's also not what I want to be, now that it's cold outside, it's not what you want to have in the machine sitting over the winter and possibly freezing and cracking something. Like say those drive motors that I was saying, I don't want to find out how much they cost. Yesterday it was about 15 degrees outside, so if there is enough water in this to freeze and crack anything in this system, that'd be cold enough to do it. So for now I'm just going to let this drain out and we'll get back to it after a while of it draining. I don't know, maybe it seems to be just draining slowly. Maybe I'll let it go for a couple hours and come back to it. Okay, I ended up having to do some sanding this morning. I ended up letting it sit overnight, draining out. So now it should be plenty drained, ready for fresh oil and filter. Just like the jack loop down a little bit. Jump that back up, get the oil pan out of there. Basically do the reverse of what we just did. That out of the way.
Brand new 55 1200. Stick that up in there. First I gotta clean the seal surface, which would be a good idea. Okay, that's good and cleaned out. As you can see, there's the new filter. If I can find where I put it again. To get the old one out, I ended up having to go down through here by the clutch and get it out that way. No, I didn't. I had to go through the. Oh, nice. Well, the old one had a wrench flat on it. I don't know where they got that one. The new one goes on. Oh, I need to put some oil on it first. Good idea. The new one fits right in there, no problem. So the oil, usually you run like a 2050 full synthetic. I'm running. I'm going to try this out. It's AMSOIL's new Zero Turn hydrostatic transmission fluid. It might have some added goodies in it, I don't know. But for the most part, I'm betting it's primarily just a good 2050 weight synthetic oil, but they might have something more in it for the hydrostat transmissions on these Zero Turns. I'm not sure. Best I could tell looking up online, these SCAGs take 2.5 quarts, but there's doesn't seem to be any way to drain the motors out, which is kind of disappointing. The only way you can drain it is what I've shown you so far, is the filter and that drain plug there. Stick this up on here. Really didn't like how milky the old fluid was, but that just means somebody hasn't changed it in a long time. So I'll probably just change it now. Run it a bit in the summer, next summer, and change on it again, not too many hours. Like I said earlier in the video, yesterday, the oil's not cheap, but the final drives are definitely way more expensive than me wasting 20 bucks in oil. That off good. Put this back together. So filters, you just put them on hand tight, just like on your car, trucks, anything like that, your engine oil. You don't use a wrench to tighten them. Click. Good enough. So that's good and tight by hand. Wipe off any excess. So now I should be able to fill up the reservoir. The important thing is here, there's nothing in the system right now. So I need to fire it up. And we'll find out how that gas treatment treated the carburetor, if that helped or not. Hopefully it did. But you got to fire it up, keep the rear tires off the ground, and let it go ahead and get the air out of the system before you put it on the ground and try to drive it. You do not want air in the system and try to drive on that. That's not going to be good for the pumps. So you go over here, so you can can see what's going on. Still need to get some decent bases for a GoPro camera. Anyway. Like I said, I'm right, it's at about 2.5 quarts. I'm gonna throw 2.5 in. We'll fire it up, see how it runs now that there's no plug in the 90 degree on the fuel tank, and it's got a fresh fuel filter and everything. It's had the carb cleaner sitting in the carburetor, that mechanic in a bottle from VP Fuels. We'll see how it runs. Even with just the VP mechanics in a bottle, when I first fired it up, it was idling it without the choke on. And it didn't do that before. So these gas caps are brand new. I replaced the ones with the holes in the top. I'm thinking there was moisture getting in that way. I don't know why somebody would cut holes in the top of these. They vent, supposed to anyways, right through these little slots here. So it's supposed to be able to take care of itself, as far as I can tell. As far as I know, that's where the vents are on it. So I guess it does build up some pressure, but I think it's supposed to bleed off. But either way, I mean, why would you modify a factory cap? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, honestly. So that's 2 quarts there. I'm going to lower this down, try to get a better read on it. Like I said, you want to keep the rear tires off the ground, which they are. You also want to make sure that jack is not touching that rear clutch. Put some more in. So this is the 1/2 quart. I've already got 2 quarts in the system. Not even really sure where the full line is on this piece of equipment. Just go by what I was reading online, 2.5 quarts. There is a small hole on the side of whatever this is supposed to be, a baffle or something. I don't know if that's supposed to be the level or what, but either way, we got that tank filled up to about here. So we're going to try that. Now we've got to see if it'll start again. Like I said, keep the tires off the ground. I've got the parking brake off already. The jack's holding it in place. I'll end up just sliding the wheels forward, engaging the drive. Looks like it needs new seat belts too. This one's kind of ratty. And the one on this side, that's just straight out torn right off. Actually, no, I was wondering if the other half was here, but it's not. Torn off, no big deal. Looks like you use a new seat too, but I bet those are expensive. Alright, moment of truth, fire it up, try to get the air out of the system. I'm gonna open the door. This is Aaron here. Choke on, which may not need it because it's like 60 in this shop. A little bit of throttle. May need a jump start. So there's probably some air in the fuel lines, but that's that VP fuel got it so it'll do that and run. I mean, I had to take the choke off immediately and it was just idling there like a brand new Zero Turn. It didn't sound any different to me. I'm not an expert with these motors, but I've got a chipper, I've got wood splitter, I've had numerous pieces of equipment with motors like this on it. That was just sitting there idling on its own with no choke. It's definitely got some air in the system. Got the fuel line turned on. I don't see much fuel coming into the filter. I try swapping tanks, maybe there's something wrong with the switch. Or maybe the fuel pump's not working as good as I thought it was. I hope that fuel system's working good. She wants to run if it'll get fuel to it. Well, it looks like it's getting fuel. It's not getting a lot of fuel. I think it'd fill up this fuel bowl or the fuel filter better than it's doing. So I don't know if that's the problem or if it's still the carburetor issue. It did sound like it was clogged up a little bit, but you see how this isn't even filling? That should be, I would think, full of fuel. It's all brand new lines to and from it. I don't see any leaks anywhere. I think it's basically keep trying it. But if you didn't notice, I tried to move the wheel motors a bit, get the air out of the system. Let's try it again. Wow. Well, from the sounds of it, come spring, I'm probably going to have to tear that carburetor off, clean it up. I don't think it's anything else. Could be, I don't think it's anything wrong with the motor or anything like that. I think it's just, that carb needs cleaning. Worse than I thought it did. But, whatever. Still got it for a decent price. First zero turn mower I've owned, so hopefully it's okay. And here's what I was afraid of. The pump still had milky fluid in it. So now we're back to a milkshake, even with fresh fluid. But now you know how to change it at least. Plan right now is I've got to get this shop cleaned out and get it so I can get the truck in here. Truck's fine and everything, but I want to get it in the heated shop and get some of the ice out from around the sander. And the sander's got a little bit of sand in it that I didn't realize stayed in from the last storm up in the front. It's my first truck sander, bed sander like that. I've never had one. But apparently there was a small amount, maybe a foot by foot width, sized section in the front of the sander that had sand left over and it froze there. So I want to get it in here, get it thawed out, get it cleaned out and ready for the next storm. Other than that, but yeah, so this is a Zero Turn SCAG Wildcat. Just put in new plugs, filters, fuel caps, fuel lines, fuel filter, fresh gas, got some Barrowmans in it. Tried that mechanic in a bottle from VP Fuels. And, it seems like this carburetor is probably a little too far gone for that. I'll probably have to tear that off in the spring when it gets closer to needing this thing and go ahead and clean it out properly and put it to work, you know. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Really appreciate watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it to an extent. I know I'm a beginner at the videos. I don't really know a lot about it. I know a lot of guys will throw some music in here once in a while, speed things up here once in a while. I don't really know how to do that yet. This is like my third or fourth video. But I'm trying to make it somewhat entertaining or educational. But anyways, if you subscribe, like it, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know that somebody out there actually has some interest in these videos. But you'll see this thing again in the spring. One way or another, you'll see it either working or getting worked on. But have a great time. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.